Peace is possible. That's not the question in a way. The question is, what price are you willing to pay for peace? How much territory, how much independence, how much sovereignty, how much freedom, how much democracy are willing to sacrifice for peace? We always see a kind of vertical escalation, more fighting, more suffering, heavier weapons in Ukraine, but escalation beyond Ukraine.
NATO's chief of staff himself has voiced the idea that Ukraine may have to give up territory for peace. This is from the guy whose job is literal Russophobia, to deny Russia at every turn. It's telling. And it isn't just him. The idea that Ukraine isn't going to win militarily, despite the billions upon billions of dollars in NATO guns and missiles and launchers and rockets and drones heaped upon Ukraine. The idea or admission that they aren't going to win this fight is gaining traction.
Mr. President, does Ukraine have to cede territory to achieve some peace?
It's their territory. I'm not going to tell them what they should and shouldn't do. But it appears to me that at some point along the line, there's going to have to be a negotiated settlement here.
We must not humiliate Russia so that the day the fighting stops, we can build a way out through diplomatic channels.
All of this is in stark contrast to what we heard before from NATO leaders when they thought that the thousands of tons of arms that they're pumping into Ukraine would see Kiev victorious.
It's, the sustained and coordinated support of the international community, led and facilitated by the United States, is a significant reason why Ukraine is able to stop Russia from taking over their country thus far.
Our goal is that Putin does not win. Our goal is for Ukraine to be able to defend itself and to be successful.
To restore peace in Europe, we must continue our support for Ukraine. So in its negotiation with Russia, it can decide on the nature of its relations with Moscow freely and not under the barrel of the gun.
Mostly that was wishful thinking. The front lines have turned into a brutal meat grinder. Ukrainian officials have admitted to losing almost 1,000 troops a day, which includes those killed and wounded taken out of action. 1,000 a day taken out of the fight. The question is, how long can Ukraine keep this up?
It's incredibly clear that Ukraine is not winning the war. Now, there's a huge military defeat, but also on the political front as well. The sanctions aren't having the impact that that they thought that they might have. So I think this is very important because, what other kind of leverage do they have? And the only leverage they have is to lean on Zelensky and say, listen, to bring about an end to the war and to bring about peace, you're going to have to concede some territory here. And I think really that's, this is the last card that they have up their sleeve to play.
Understand Europe and America. Sanctions have backfired to a horrendous degree. There is division in NATO, with some asking, what is the ultimate point of continuing this if Ukraine can't win? What the sanctions have resulted in is a food crisis and a fuel crisis and an energy crisis, and none of those are affecting Russia. Ergo, we may have no idea how long this conflict will last, but some in the West are already looking for a way out.